Yours truly, Diamond K, here for the Pro Wrestling Remix on a special night and time. Well, maybe not time. Same time, different night. I am joined by Lee. Lee Sanders, are you there, sir?
Oh, yes, brother, I'm here.
All right, how's it going?
I'm pretty good, man. How you been?
Can't complain. Can't complain. Been a rough week, but it's all coming together now.
That's it. Hey, point there is stay positive, brother.
Absolutely, absolutely. Of course, we're going to talk about the 20th anniversary edition of Monday Night Raw. Before we get into that, I want to get some of these plugs out of the way. Now, this episode is brought to you by You Are Not the Father, my book, which is available now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Definitely pick that up, check that out. You can also get that on ustreamradio.com in our shop zone. Now, I want you to talk a little bit about your website and your radio show and what you do very well every week.
Oh, thank you so much, Dime. I appreciate that. And first off, I just want to say it's an honor to be a guest on your show, and I hope that your listeners, they enjoy some of the topics we're going to be covering tonight. I run a wrestling website and an entertainment website over at infinityOneProductions.com. We cover a little bit of everything. I mean, you name it, we're there. I have the RCWR Show and Impact Showdown Radio, which you can listen to right here on blogtalkradio.com, Tuesdays and Thursday nights, 11 p.m. and 10 p.m. We cover it all, a little bit of WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor. If you're a women's wrestling fan, we even cover a little bit of what's going on in the respective promotions of Shimmer, Shine, Weekend Edition reports. We cover a little bit of entertainment, a little bit of everything. Whatever's got you guys talking, we're talking about it on those shows. So check it out when you get a chance.
Very good, very good. And I regularly listen to the shows. Good stuff over there.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. Off topic, just a bit. What is your predictions? Who is going to the Super Bowl?
Lord, we were talking last week, and I thought that was going to be the end for the Ravens. And I don't know what's going on, man. I mean, who they got to take on now? The Patriots?
Patriots, yeah.
Man, I don't like to go against the Ravens. I really don't. But, I think Ray Lewis is on to something. Spiritual journey he talking about. I think we're going to see the Ravens in the Super Bowl. Who's on the other side there? We got San Fran taking on Arizona. I don't know, man.
No, Atlanta.
It's Atlanta? I'm looking at San Fran.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm looking at San Fran and the
49ers in the Super Bowl. Yep.
Yeah.
I agree. Ravens are going to go all the way. My prediction. All right, with that, with our football talk out of the way, Monday Night Raw started off with a bit of a classic intro. A lot of things from the 20 years, some of the old logos, and some of the classic things that they did in the intro over the years. And of course, Mr. McMahon coming out. No surprise seeing him in the opener. True?
No surprise, no. No, that was his baby after all. He's the godfather. He's the one that created the whole thing. It made sense for it to open up with him.
Right, and he went on to announce a cage match that was going to happen later in the night. And I knew that at some point between now and the Royal Rumble, we were going to get a quote-unquote rock concert, and he made that announcement. How do you feel about these rock concerts where the Rock, has a chair and a guitar and attempts to, do his Las Vegas show routine?
Well, it's funny because I got to be honest. When he first did it, not to really jump too far ahead, but when he first did it, I believe the first rock concert he did, what was that? When he was having his rivalry with Goldberg, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was solid stuff. And then you hear that he's getting ready to do another rock concert, and if I'm not mistaken, the second one he cut was on Cena. That was pretty good. The one from this past Monday, it kicked off kind of like, okay, we need somebody to come out and save this because it's kind of going in a direction where it could bomb really bad. But, I mean, lo and behold, we saw Vicky Guerrero there, and I think, honestly, that had really saved it right there.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he has too many of these left in him. I think he's going to have to switch it up a bit. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe the live crowd enjoys the shtick a little bit better than it comes off on TV.
Maybe. But I do agree. He's going to need to hang that up. I will say this. It was nice to see him just break away from that, because as I was watching that, I'm thinking to myself, as I'm sure as many of the other viewers, okay, we know he's going to have to do something with CM Punk. Is this going to end in a way where he's just going to be singing until the end of the night, or is it going to take a more serious tone? I was glad that it ended on a serious tone, because that's exactly what was needed to sell their match in a couple of weeks.
Right, absolutely, and we'll get to more on them in a little bit. I was definitely surprised to hear the Big Show's music interrupt Mr. McMahon. And we found out that he's going to be getting a rematch at the Royal Rumble. What did you make of the interaction between Big Show, Del Rio in that opening segment?
Well, and I still haven't watched it on my DVR yet, so hopefully I can get around to it before the weekend's out. Of course, I'm talking about SmackDown, where Del Rio was crowned the new World Heavyweight Champion. And, the way I kind of took that particular segment with all those guys in the ring, it was basically like, okay, hey, WWE Universe, here's your new World Heavyweight Champion. Love him. It's Alberto Del Rio. And just to hear Big Show, I can't remember word for word what he said, but he basically said something that was offensive to Hispanic people. And you kind of see Vince McMahon, he had a stone cold angry look on his face, like, I know this guy didn't just say that. I just, I'm kind of happy for Alberto Del Rio, because it's like, you know what, this was a long time coming, because it just seemed like he was jobbing to people for a good number of months there. But then at the same time, I'm still baffled a week later over them putting the belt on him, let alone on a regular episode of SmackDown. And I'm saying to myself, you could have had a pay-per-view quality type of match. Why not have this go down at the Royal Rumble? I'm wondering right now, Diamond, I don't know about you, what's going to happen with the Big Show this year?
Well, I mean, that's an interesting perspective on that. I think probably the reason that they did, they wanted to do that title change on that segment of SmackDown was because The Rock was going to be on there, and they knew they were going to have a lot of eyes glued in, and it was a pretty decent rated episode of SmackDown. So I think they wanted the most eyeballs to see the title change, and it seemed like when they initially turned Del Rio babyface that they were kind of, sitting on the fence about whether he, which way he was going to go. But clearly, this is a direction that they're moving in with him being a babyface, which I think that he can do. So them being in Texas, that's where they were, right? They were in Texas.
Yeah, he's in Texas. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty heavy Hispanic population there. So I think that was a good place to jump that off, so to speak.
Yeah. Okay.
What are your thoughts on the live crowd reaction to something and the reaction watching at home? Do you think that the live crowd's reaction affects the average viewer's opinion of a wrestler?
I think it could play a very significant part, yeah. I mean, you can take a guy, a good example would be Tyson Kidd. Very solid performer in the ring. I mean, we just heard CM Punk in that last pipe bomb he gave there. He kind of gave him props a little bit. I think a live crowd definitely plays an impact. I mean, you take a young kid like Tyson Kidd, and he really just is not able to get over with the WWE Universe. But, you take something like, Sheamus involved with the Shield, that can get a really loud reaction. Or how about Randy Orton every time he comes out? I always tell people this. If you listen to Randy Orton every time he comes out and you hear the same high-pitched level in the crowd reaction, sometimes WWE, they've had a history of this. They will sit up and they will build in their own crowd reactions.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely pipe in that crowd reaction. You opened the door well. Orton and Barrett in the opener. I was actually surprised to see this match at this place in the card, and definitely big upset, at least from where I sit, with Wade going over clean for the former world champion Randy Orton. Where does Randy Orton? Where is his place in the card in the upcoming months?
That's exactly the question I was wondering, because I was kind of feeling like many of the fans, because I was interacting with a big number of them on Twitter, and I'm saying, wow, okay, we got Wade Barrett, Randy Orton going at it again. We can't leave this alone, can we? And then just to see Wade Barrett just get a squash match right there, a win over Orton like that, I'm saying, okay, what's going on with Randy Orton right here? Now, it hasn't been confirmed yet, folks, so just take this with a grain of salt, but there's rumblings that Randy Orton could be taking some time off this year for some personal reasons. Now, he hasn't violated the wellness policy in any type of way. It's just that there's some personal stuff going on at home, and he might need to leave in a little bit. I don't know, maybe what happened on Monday night, Diamond, is the beginning of that. I'm not sure, but I thought Orton was off to a great start when he had came back, and I'm still kind of keeping my fingers crossed because of the way things have been playing out. Not to jump ahead, but the way things have been playing out, we could be at least seeing him in a match at the Rumble.
Yeah. If not in the Rumble match itself.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I think this was definitely a sign of the elevation of Wade Barrett, and the regime is feeling pretty good about Wade Barrett and his upside.
That belt looks good on him too.
It does, and I think he's definitely a future main eventer. 2 to 3 years.
Really? You don't think he can do it this year?
I think that it's pretty crowded right now. I think he could do it, and he has done it, against Cena. But I think that the landscape is a little crowded right now. Ziggler is definitely in front of him, as is Ryback, and I think that the Shield has leapfrogged him, at least for the time being. Booker T and Eve had an interesting interaction where he pretty much set up the stipulations for her upcoming defense. What do you make of the chemistry between Eve, Teddy Long, and Booker T?
Classic, as always. I never get enough of that. I mean, I love how they just continue to kind of play with that idea that maybe Eve was kind of, doing something there with Booker T, because I'm thinking about the previous episode of SmackDown. He was kind of led to the impression that maybe her and Booker had some type of an understanding, but it was nice to see in that backstage segment that, no, it's not even what you think. Booker T putting her right there on the spot, and of course, she just can't get along with Teddy Long for nothing because, all said and done, she wants to be the one in that role that he has. But great chemistry between the three of them, as always.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, if you're just tuning in, yours truly, Dominic K, UStreamRadio.com. I'm joined by Lee Sanders from the RCWR Show, and we are recapping the 20th anniversary of Monday Night Raw, which went down obviously on Monday. I'm not an extremely big fan of women's wrestling. I can deal with a very good women's match by good women wrestlers. I think that what really hurts it for me is when they put these models in matches who clearly can't work. That bothers me. But when you have some women that can go, I do enjoy that. And with that being said, I don't exactly know where Eve falls. I think she falls more so on the model side of things. But what are your thoughts on? And I just spoke about her losing the title. But what are your thoughts on Eve's title run and this loss to Caitlyn?
So many mixed emotions, Diamond, for real. I mean, it's so funny because I had wrote an article a couple of months back, and a lot of people, they were like, oh, that's great stuff. And I was talking about how is Eve the last savior of the women's division. And I had made some very valid points. I mean, she was one of those type of divas who you looked at, you said, okay, she's got the look, but she doesn't quite have it all down in the ring. And then you just fast forward, what was that, maybe the beginning of last year, and you just look at where she was up until Monday. And she's really made a great ton of progress. And to see her drop the title, I was a little bit disappointed because, Caitlyn, we talked about this. Caitlyn, she looks like a Trish Stratus, but unfortunately she, sucks in the ring. And I'm very, very concerned about the Divas division right now. I mean, just when I thought, Diamond, that this division was possibly going to be going into that right direction there, it looks like they just put the title on somebody that I really don't think is ready. She needs more time on the mic, for one. She needs more time in the ring. Maybe she should go back to NXT. I don't know. But, quite honestly, I would have settled for the Divas title just being retired that night. I really don't think a new champion should have been crowned. Seriously.
Yeah, that's pretty hard on the ladies. It's possible. I don't know where they would be going, but it's possible and probable that Caitlyn is a transitional champion. But on the other side of things, they could be getting ready to really put a movement behind her and turn her into something. I can't say that I saw some progress that Eve was going to make prior to her doing it. Of course, she had the interactions with John Cena earlier in the year, and her character evolving to what it has become. And her interactions with Zack Ryder. I don't think that she's gone, but at least for storyline purposes, she has quit.
Yeah, I was, as soon as that went down, I was like all on my iPad, and I was checking out the WWE Raw Active, and I was paying attention to it like all the way up until we came on the air here. And for those of you that might not know, it looks like Eve, her contract is done. So, she wants to chill. This is 100% accurate, folks. She is trying to go out and get married. She's trying to finish building her house. And also it said that she's just burned out. But she will be coming back somewhere down the road. There's no timetable as far as when she's going to come back. But, again, she's burned out. She just, wants to recharge her batteries for a little bit. And I'm hearing that the way that things ended with WWE, the door is open for her to come back. But as, you and I both know, Diamond, we've seen this checkered history of these divas, once they've dipped into some outside projects not affiliated with the WWE, it's kind of like, the grass is a little bit better over here. And time again, we've unfortunately seen some, pretty solid divas leave the company, and the Divas division just continues to just look like a deer in headlights. Like, what are we going to do now?
Yeah. So, with that being said, there are probably some sad roads ahead with Caitlyn as the Divas champion. We also had a pretty typical segment with Team Hell No and the Rhodes Scholars, which actually led to a match with Kane and Damian Sandow, with Kane winning there. Is it time for the Team Hell No to come to an end?
Hell yes. Hell yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
We also got the official announcement. Of course, they've been talking about and buzzing online for several days. Mick Foley going into the Hall of Fame, 2013 Hall of Fame, definitely well deserved. Your thoughts on that announcement and how he cowered down to the Shield after that?
Ooh, I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, I'm actually writing an article as we speak. Hopefully I can have it up on the weekend. You know, that segment right there, I was happy for Foley. You know, I've been watching his career for a good while. I'd say, yes, it's about damn time he gets his due. But, you know, Diamond, we've seen this time and time again from Mick Foley and the WWE that frustration is the right word in this case. I mean, every time it seems like Mick Foley gets a little props, there's always a twist to it. He always has to be at the end of a bad joke, or he has to be at the end of a possible beatdown. I was really ready to see him have that open, emotional moment with the crowd for those 10 minutes. Shield, you know, I could kind of tolerate it because he did kind of work with them there, a couple of months back, and, you know, we saw those other guys come out to save him. You know, I could kind of see that, but, you know, I don't want to jump ahead. Go ahead, but, you know, I just thought it was totally, you know, dissing Mick Foley right there. Notice, Diamond, he didn't even get a video package chronicling his wrestling career. Something, if I'm not mistaken, the previous Hall of Fame inductees, every time they make that announcement, especially with their first inductee, they always show a really cool, kick-ass video package.
Absolutely. And summarizing the whole thing, because he's not going to get another opportunity to really, I mean, maybe before WrestleMania they can go into some more in-depth packages. I guess that's possible. But it seems to me that was just an afterthought for that segment. The segment was more about the, you know, Ryback, Randy Orton, you know, interaction with the Shield and with Sheamus. Ryback has not gotten better on the mic yet. He still seems very awkward, just as he does in the ring. But the fans like him, aside from the Goldberg chants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he has his moments, man. He's trying, but yeah, he's definitely not ready.
What? Skipping forward a little bit, we saw a very different, more intense Brodus Clay after some of the comments that CM Punk made about him. Do you think that we're seeing the seeds being planted for a heel turn for Brodus?
Either a heel turn, or we're starting to see that side where he's going to get away from the whole dancing gimmick. And honestly, I'm very curious to see how a more serious Brodus Clay would do, because I think this is a very interesting fun fact. For those of your listeners that don't know, it turns out Brodus Clay was the originator of the Hall of Pain gimmick made famous by Mark Henry, and that's what he had wanted to go in with, and he actually pitched it to Creative, but Creative said, we don't think that's going to work. And maybe they were kind of right at the time, because Mark Henry, he did push the hell out of that very well. But, if this is the beginning of a more serious side to Brodus Clay, I'm all for it. I want to see what he can do.
Absolutely. And, of course, Punk defeated him in a little bit under 4 minutes. Moving ahead, Sheamus against 3MB, an over-the-top rope challenge. 3MB coming out with an unexpected win. One thing that I noticed that happens is we get these rematches from SmackDown or from Main Event on Raw, and this is one of those encounters like that. Like you said last week about them, taking matches to the mainstream, so to speak. I think that's actually skippable. Miz TV, Flair's interaction there with the Miz and Cesaro. Do you think that the rub, if you will, that he could have gotten from Flair is a sign of the faith that they have in Cesaro?
Yeah, because I thought that was like one of the best highlights of the night for Raw. I mean, just to see Cesaro come in there and he was just getting one off of Ric Flair. Really going below the belt, too. How about that?
Yeah, definitely.
I thought that was... Yeah, I thought that was really on point, and they're really helping to elevate him to that next step that he needs to be at. But, also at the same time having Miz in there, too, and you got Miz kind of getting over there working with Flair. I mean, both of these guys came out looking very strong. I mean, that segment was executed very well by WWE booking.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, if you are listening to us live, we're going to go into a bit of overtime, but of course you'll be able to hear us in the archives, definitely for our live listeners. We're going to continue, but for our live listeners, we're going to be signing off momentarily. I definitely want to thank you, Lee, for stopping through, and of course we're going to be collaborating a whole lot in the days and weeks and months to come. Definitely. Once again, tell people how they can hear you and, your brand of entertainment.
Yeah, well, if you guys like a little bit of wrestling from your WWE, TNA, independent stuff, Ring of Honor, women's wrestling, just hop on over to InfinityOneProductions.com. We cover a little bit of everything. So much more than wrestling is what I always like to say, as we cover a little bit of entertainment news. I give you a quick little sample. We got an article up right now talking about Alec Baldwin, who, as you all know, is the star at 30 Rock on NBC. Their series is actually going to be ending later this month, and he's got a pretty interesting take of an interview he did with Rolling Stone talking about how he was almost ready to quit the show on season 5. Really great read. Go check that out. And if you guys, want, check out our show. It airs Tuesday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern, Thursday nights 10 p.m. And for that Thursday night show, if you got some hardcore TNA wrestling fans, they would definitely appreciate that. All we talk about on the Thursday night show is TNA-related news, some good stuff.
Very good, very good. Daniel Bryan, Cody Rhodes match came up, and of course, in typical, WWE fashion, whenever the titles are coming up, they break off the competitors and give them the singles matchups. Daniel Bryan winning very, very short match. Submission here. What are your thoughts on the Rhodes Scholars? Do they need to get the strap?
Yeah. I think it's time. I mean, these guys were supposed to get it, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of months back before poor Cody there had injured his shoulder and was it deltoid on Main Event. And it just seemed like Team Hell No was just floating around there. I think now would really be a good time to put those tag belts on them. It's kind of sad because primetime players, it looked like they were definitely going to be it, but then, I guess the team of Rhodes Scholars, when you kind of mash those two teams up respectively, I guess the edge would go more to Team Rhodes Scholars. But yeah, I think it's a good time to put the tag belts on them.
Yeah, definitely, and shake things up a bit. It is definitely time. I think that the Hell No thing has run its course. Definitely good. Always good to see Jim Ross come back, and he came to call the cage match between Ziggler and John Cena, of course, with Biggie Langston and AJ Lee at ringside. Do you really think that Jim Ross adds something to these main event matches?
Yeah, he has that nice throwback vibe going on. I mean, every time I see Jim Ross come out, I just always smile. I don't really know too many color commentators these days that I can just kick back and I just automatically have a genuine smile on my face because I know I'm going to hear some really great stories about the two men that I'm looking at, and only Jim Ross can really make a match look so damn good. I mean, he could probably take two of the worst guys in the organization, and he could just really make you feel invested into that match. And you know what? If there was ever a time for Jim Ross to call a match, that's steel cage match, 5-star quality right there.
Yeah, absolutely. They gave this one a lot of time, over 15 minutes. Back and forth action, obviously what you would expect with the bodyguard type outside the ring, trying to prevent Cena from getting out of the ring, out of the door, etc. At one point in time, he came inside of the cage, and also AJ climbed to the top of the cage. What did you think about the match? And I mean, of course, we've seen matches between Cena and Ziggler before, and Ziggler bumps very well for everybody, Cena included. Did you think that this loss helped, hurt, or did it not affect Ziggler at all?
I was just looking at that match, and the first thing that just came into my mind is, I'm sure it probably went into the minds of a lot of fans, that was a damn good match. And I didn't even think about Dolph Ziggler losing there. It was kind of like a 15-second delay. It was like, oh yeah, Dolph Ziggler lost. Like, well, I don't think it hurt his momentum. I really don't. I think just the outing that he had with Cena, I mean, if anything, I think it just solidified, at least in my mind, I don't know about you all that's listening, but in my mind, it really solidified to me that this young man is ready. Let's stop beating around the bush. Let's make him be a world heavyweight champion already.
Yeah, absolutely. He's in that main event role. He's living up to the main event promos, match quality, just all in all, he's ready. He's right there. And I definitely think we're going to be seeing him cash in that briefcase very, very soon.
I hope so. One thing, though, about that Raw, and I thought it was kind of funny, I like how we didn't even get to see Dolph Ziggler cross paths with Ric Flair.
That's interesting. I didn't even think about that. So
that would have been a solid moment right there.
Yeah. You think that these two belong together?
Yeah, I mean, they got such a similar style. I think they would work really well with one another. I heard a little rumblings there that when Jack Swagger comes back, maybe they could kind of do something with Ric Flair. I think that's a missed opportunity right there. I think you want to pair him up with Ric Flair. I mean, both of those guys, I mean, that's a whole new stable right there.
Right. I agree. After that, we got the much talked about, much hyped rock concert, and the good part about it is is we got the interaction between Punk and Rock, continuing to build the momentum for the match. They still have 1 week to go in promo. I think that a pay-per-view like the Royal Rumble sells itself, but one thing they haven't been doing that much of is talking about the Royal Rumble and how excited the wrestlers are and their numbers and, trying to win the Royal Rumble and those type of things. Do you think that that's passé, or did some of those things get missed in the format of the 20th anniversary?
One of many things that got missed in the format of that particular episode. Yes, I think the writers spent so much time just focusing on, okay, how are we going to execute this Rock concert tonight? How are we going to have things in between him and CM Punk? I think so much emphasis was put on that they forgot about those little fine details. Royal Rumble, it's a pay-per-view that's proven time and time again over the years that could bring in that hardcore wrestling fan, bring in that occasional wrestling fan that, maybe doesn't check out the product every so often, but they can always come in for that Royal Rumble because they know they're going to see something special, something exciting, right. And they just didn't do that on Monday night.
Yeah, I mean, if I was a casual fan and that was the program that I watched, that episode would not excite me to go and purchase this. Of course, we're diehard fans and we're reporting on these things, so we're going to see the show. But they need, in order to really make the maximum amounts, they have to reach those casual fans, and they have to do more to reach those casual fans. WrestleMania is definitely going to deliver, and I think that the Royal Rumble is going to do big numbers. But they're going to have to focus more in order to get these other fans involved.
Yeah, seriously, But how about just Raw overall? I don't know about you, but it felt a little misleading.
I think you're right. I enjoyed the previous week's episode more than I did this 20th anniversary.
Yeah. That was for me, and I didn't have to sit down, Diamond, and think about this, and I'm sure there's probably a good number of you out there that probably didn't have to either. You just kick back, you're like, man, felt like a typical episode. Where was the WWE legends? Where was the Hacksaw Jim Duggan? And it's so funny because I'm actually Facebook friends with Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and I saw him put out a little post. What was it, last Saturday, that he was going to be on Raw. So I'm like, oh, okay, well then this is shaping up to be pretty good. Then we're hearing the rumblings that Edge is supposed to pop up, Undertaker's going to pop up, they're going to try to get Shawn Michaels, and you come to this episode, all we get is Ric Flair, The Rock, Mick Foley. Now, keep in mind, we saw Mick Foley and Ric Flair get dissed. Okay, so you really couldn't take much great weight with those two guys coming back because you look at that segment there with the Rock and Sock Connection reuniting there, and then Vicky Guerrero comes in, and it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. It's like, okay, you get Mick Foley, you say he's inducted in the Hall of Fame, and what do? You put him at the bad butt end of a joke. You have Vicky Guerrero sit up and compare him being inducted into like a baseball Hall of Fame, basically saying he shouldn't even be inducted. And it's like, Is that really the time and place to say that? And then look at Ric Flair, okay, 16-time World Heavyweight Champion, only 2-time WWE Hall of Famer. You sit up, you bring him in. I understand you're trying to get Cesaro over. You want to get Miz over. I am so sold on that. But you take that core piece right there, you have Cesaro sit up and talk about all the personal problems that Ric Flair's had over the years. You know, we all know that as wrestling fans. That's no secret. I mean, we all know that Big Daddy Vince and crew, you know, they had came to his aid in a big way as he had tried to sell his Rolex that Shawn Michaels gave him and his Hall of Fame rings to try to pay off some bills. And WWE, Vinnie Mac, they got word of that. They was like, you know what, let's buy this stuff back. You know, you don't need to do that. So, you know, but we didn't need to hear those things, at least on that night, because it was supposed to be about celebration, and there was just so many people missing. And for those of you wondering, well, what happened with Shawn Michaels and Steve Austin? Turns out they was at a hunting convention, and they had planned this months ahead, so they weren't even going to be able to do it. And they even tried to reach out to Bret Hart Diamond. Now, I thought this was interesting. Bret Hart declined because he didn't like the way he was utilized the last time that he was on Raw, which I believe he was like a special guest referee. And basically he said unless they're going to use him in a serious role type of capacity, he didn't want to have anything to do with it.
Yeah, and I completely understand that. A man of his stature and his popularity, that definitely is understandable and I think more than fair. They misused him several of his last appearances and completely misused the the hearts that they have there. Definitely. All in all, scale of 1 to 10, what do you give this particular episode of the 20th anniversary of Raw?
I'm gonna go with a 5.5, maybe a 6.
Yeah, I was going with the 6. Yep.
Yeah.
So hopefully, and I'm pretty sure this week's episode leading into the Royal Rumble is going to be very exciting. I hope so.
Yeah, I really hope so. I mean, they need this big time. Really, they do.
All right. I'm definitely sure that we'll talk about Royal Rumble plans and what's going to happen with that and any potential show coverage of that. But we'll talk about that definitely. I definitely once again want to thank you for coming through and stopping by, and everyone listening. You got the last word. Anything you want to say before we go?
Oh, I just want to thank you for the opportunity. I like this that we're doing the collaborations. I can't wait to do more. I look forward to doing more, and I hope you all, the Diamond K listeners, I hope you all had appreciated this great overall coverage of Monday's Raw, and look forward to doing more.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.